welcome back to another Ixcela Facebook Live event. My name is Rachel and I am the registered dietitian here at Ixcela. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, please feel welcome to drop any comments or suggestions, thoughts in the comment section below. So I was just enjoying some kombucha, and a lot of us love kombucha. We know that it's rich in probiotics, it's delicious, might have some antioxidants, depending on the teas and the different additives in it. I love kombucha. Great way to kind of give yourself a little kick and later in the morning. But step aside kombucha, because today we are going to showcase a few other fermented foods that we think are really exciting and worth adding to your menu. So today we are going to showcase a grain power bowl. We're going to make it with wild rice. Shifting the camera a little bit here so you can see some of our ingredients. Like I said, it's going to be a grain power bowl, and the special probiotic foods that we're going to add today, they are fermented foods, which is what makes them probiotics, is first we're going to add a kimchi, which was made with cabbage. You can see it right here. And then the second one is a miso. I'm just going to show you the lid here. That's a really great way to do it. This is a traditional red miso. There's also white varieties, but today we're using red. There's a little bit of a difference in the flavor, but whichever one you can find at your grocery store is absolutely okay. So like I said, we're showcasing some fermented foods today, and this is a really great way to kind of give yourself some ideas on how you are going to add fermented foods to your diet. We're tuning in from the Ixcela lunchroom, so this meal is super easy to prepare. You might need to do a little bit of extra prep than what we have here. Fortunately, we have a kitchen and some cutting boards and knives, but I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised that this one is really easy to prepare. So to get started, we started with our grains. This is a wild rice ancient grain blend, and no shame here, we ended up using a grain pouch. These are awesome because they're whole grain, a really great source of moderate to high carbohydrate, which is awesome, and they're ready in 90 seconds. Have some of those on hand, no shame in the convenience. The more that you can prepare yourself, the more successful you will be. Next, we are going to add our low carbs to this meal. So for low carbs today, I have a few different varieties. We're going to start with carrots, and once again, our low carb options are going to be our non-starchy vegetables. Carrots are going to be a little bit higher in carbohydrate than maybe some of our other ones, but ultimately definitely a lower carb option. So there we go. We've added about maybe almost a half a cup of shredded carrots. Once again, I'm going to give you a little tip. I absolutely love to get these. These are matchstick carrots. They're already pre-chopped. It's a really great way to add carrots, a little bit of extra beta carotene and some fiber to your meal. They're already chopped. You don't have to worry about cutting boards or peels or anything like that. So this is great to add to, of course, this bowl, but also things like stir fries, soups. You could throw it in a smoothie, really get creative with that one. Then we're going to add in some purple cabbage. As we know, purple cabbage is another incredible source of fiber, as well as that purple is just going to give proof that it is also rich in antioxidants. So we're going to go ahead and add that. Beautiful. Raw vegetables are also going to have a little bit of their own bacteria strains on them as well, especially if you pick them out of your own garden. Give them a really quick rinse to maybe wash off some of the dirt. They're not going to have a lot of those conventional farming, really intense washes and things like that are necessary when things are provided in the grocery store. Finally, I will admit I picked this from my garden this morning. This is just some really nice leaf lettuce. I think it's a great addition, just another way to add some color. So I figured, hey, let's just add some of that in today. You're going to watch this bowl really turn into something special as we continue to add these ingredients. And then finally, for our vegan and vegetarians, I wanted to include some plant-based protein options. So this is edamame. You might have seen this included in some of our other videos. Really great source of protein for those of us that are vegan or vegetarian, or if you're looking for some extra fiber, some extra crunch, a really great way to kind of keep yourself fuller longer because of that fiber and protein. So we're going to add just a little bit of that. You can see our bowl is going to start overflowing here. Lovely. Great. And then finally, for our protein source, before we talk about how we're going to add some additional flavor, we have two different options here. I'm going to scoot it aside just to make sure that you can see these options. The first one is tofu right here. I prepared this last night, and I'm going to be posting a video on how to prepare this tofu. I realized tofu is kind of a non-traditional ingredient for some of us, but if you know how to prepare it, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the texture of it. You'll go from kind of that mushy texture to a little bit more hardiness, kind of that more dense texture, which is really nice and a good addition to this bowl in particular. For today, we're going to go ahead and add some rotisserie chicken. Once again, a really great convenience food. If you can swing by the store on the way home, it's a great way to add some protein to a quick dinner. And unless you're feeding a family of 5 or 6 or it's a small chicken, I bet you'll have some leftovers. So we're going to go ahead and just give this a rough chop. Really great way to create a bowl, because then you know you're getting a little bit of every ingredient in your bite, which makes for a really flavorful bite, which is so nice. Okay, now for our fermented foods. Like I said, today we're using kimchi and miso, and the kimchi is going to be made with cabbage. A really great way to ensure that your fermented foods are going to have actual probiotic properties in them is to look at the ingredient label. You can look at the nutrition label, and you might find the actual list of the probiotics that were used, the bacterial strains that were used to ferment it, and that's just a really great way to ensure that the probiotic food that you're using is going to have some of those strains. Kimchi is a big punch of flavor, so consider starting slow if you've never tried it before. It is like sauerkraut. It's very, very similar. You can see this is a kimchi sauerkraut, so you're going to get that extra tang. You can find some other ingredients, maybe even yogurt, to help cut that tang and kind of soften up that big punch a little bit. So we're just going to start with 1 tablespoon, and kimchi is another source of low carb. So we're going to go ahead and add that kimchi. You can find really spicy varieties as well, so make sure you read the label. I've had some pretty spicy ones that I can't say that I'm crazy about because I don't love super spicy food, so make sure you check the label on that. Okay, we're going to shift that, and we're going to do our grand finale here with our miso. So I've already added a majority of the ingredients to this jar, and that was on purpose. This is something that, of course, you could do in the office, but might be better to try at home. You're going to add all of your dressing or sauce ingredients to a jar and then shake it up so that it's really easy to then store, because you can put the lid back on, or you can then pour it right over top of your salad. So far, we've added our white wine vinegar, a dash of water. We've added a little bit of green onion, but we're going to add some more. We've added some fresh grated ginger, a little bit of olive oil, and we're going to finish it off with the rest of our ingredients here. So I'm going to go ahead and chop these green onions. I love to use green onions because they're a really great mild onion. It's really nice to get that onion flavor without maybe something as pungent as a purple or a red onion, which is really nice. So we're going to go ahead and chop this really small so that it can mix in with our dressing really nicely. Okay, now this is the tricky part, getting it in the jar. Oh, we did pretty good without it spilling all over the place. We'll take it. Okay, let's wipe our hands real quick. Next, we're going to add about a tablespoon of sesame oil. I always say to start slow with sesame oil. It's delicious, it's sweet, it's a really great oil, but it can be really strong in flavor. So start slow, like I said. If you find that you want to add more sesame oil once you've added it, that's okay. But if you add too much, you might find that you have a lot of dressing once you've kind of diluted it a little bit more. So start slow with the sesame oil. We added about a tablespoon worth. And then finally, we're going to add our miso. And miso is a fermented soybean. So we're adding about 2 teaspoons. Like so. I'm going to help break this up a little bit, and then we'll give it a shake. Perfect. Okay, lid. Here we go. Shake it really good. You can see it turns out into this really nice, kind kind of perfect consistency for topping a bowl, but you could also use this for a marinade. You could drizzle it over a stir fry, really whatever you see as fit. It's a really nice sesame, ginger, some green onions. We're just going to give it a drizzle, like so. And then, if you know me, I like to kind of finish off all my meals with a little bit of an extra topping, whether that's additional green onion, or one of my all-time favorites is a mixture of some sesame seeds, garlic, and sea salt. You can, of course, just use a traditional sesame seed. If you want to toast it and add some additional, of that warmth, nuttiness, you definitely can. But we're just going to go ahead and top this like so. And to give us a little bit more color on top, add a touch more of carrot. So there you have it. This is our wild green power bowl made with some extra probiotic friendly ingredients of kimchi and miso paste. So go ahead and give this one a try. Also look forward to the recipe video on how to make a pan-seared tofu, as well as some more details tomorrow about our dressing. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next time.